Donald Trump just finished delivering a major speech on immigration, promising to build a wall along the southern border, deport criminal illegal immigrants and sanctuary cities, and so much more, ending on a very powerful note with what he called angel moms, parents that in fact lost their children to illegal immigrants. He also laid out a 10-point plan. We have a lot of ground to cover, a little time to do it. Here with reaction, editor-in-chief, LifeZet.com, Fox News contributor, nationally syndicated radio talk show host Laura Ingraham. As I analyze not just this speech, but analyze him with President Nieto earlier today, Laura, and you were with him, I understand. Is that true?
I was not. I would love to have been there. It looked pretty dramatic. I wish I was there, but no, I wasn't there.
You know, it seems that this probably turned out for Donald Trump to be a pivotal moment, and I would argue probably the best day of his campaign. He looked presidential in Mexico. He gave a powerful speech. He laid out a very powerful case. He compared and contrasted his vision on immigration versus Hillary's. He talked about the cost, the impact, criminal justice system, healthcare system, educational system. He talked about how it has impacted families like those angel moms behind him. Very powerful day, I would argue, for him.
Yeah, I think that when you hear the critics of Trump, they often will say, well, he speaks in broad generalities. It's make America great again. I'm going to build a beautiful wall. But this speech, and it was a lengthy speech, it went into specific after specific. I mean, getting down to the 287G program, which is cooperation between the states and the federal government, which he's going to reinvigorate. Obviously, the big kicker on catch and release, that we're no longer just going to allow people who walk across the border to stay here. We're immediately going to deport them, including to the countries who refuse to take deported illegal immigrants today. He went into specific after specific on the impact of the American people on crime, on our security, on jobs, and the impact on the rule of law, Sean, which I think it goes to the common sense desire to really have an immigration enforcement system that works for the American people. And I think at the beginning it was really important to stress that he said how much he loves the Mexican people and has such great respect for Mexican-American immigrants to this country who've worked so hard, believe in strong families. And he gave a big hat tip to President Nieto, who I know is getting hammered tonight in Mexico for even meeting with President Trump, and there's a lot of strong feelings after that meeting. But I think it was a big day for this campaign, and the critics are going to be the critics, but I think this speech stands on its own as a major policy shift away from open borders and permissive or non-existent enforcement.
I think if I'm Hillary Clinton tonight, I'm very worried.
Yeah, I mean, today she was giving a lackluster speech at the American Legion, Sean, that received tepid, polite applause. And meanwhile, Donald Trump was standing side by side with one of our most important allies. We've had a kind of a rocky relationship with Mexico, not just Trump's tough language, but the relationship with Mexico over the last 7.5 years hasn't been great. It's frankly been withering on the vine. He goes down there and says, look, we're going to disagree on things, but this is the beginning of a reinvigorated relationship. We need to have a strong relationship. I thought that was powerful. And again, I think President Nieto deserves a lot of credit for meeting with him. And, you know, he's getting hammered by the, Jorge Ramos types badly for having hosted Donald Trump, but I think it was a good thing.
The objective journalist guy that says every media person should be against Donald Trump. You know what was really amazing about it? Think about the first day that Donald Trump announced. And he talked about, he mentioned crime, and he mentioned murder, and he mentioned rape, but he also talked about that time, he talked about all the other, many are good people. He did say that. That always got distorted from the very beginning. But here's, I think, what I take out of today, especially the meeting with President Nieto, is that Donald Trump took a strong, powerful stand. Donald Trump still got an invitation, and Donald Trump obviously charmed the Mexican president, and they both said they could work together, and they both talked about solving problems with drugs and the cartels and guns and illegal immigration. And at the end of the day, I mean, peace through strength, the evil empire. I got the feeling that in many ways that a lot of people that thought Donald Trump's tough language would hurt our relations with people, I think he proves just the opposite tonight.
Sean, you're absolutely right. A strong America is better for our allies. A weak America and an America in decline is terrible for our allies. It might momentarily make the snipers feel good, but if America is in decline, freedom is endangered around the world. And I think he seemed to convey that in his remarks today in Mexico. It is critical that we have a good and powerful and honest relationship with Mexico. We're not going to agree with Mexico on everything. We don't agree with the EU on everything. We don't agree with Germany, we know, on everything. But we work with people. I mean, think about this, Sean. We have Republicans who had no problem with the administration sitting down with Iran and going to visit despots and Castro and negotiating with China despite what they do to their political prisoners. They had no problem with any of that. Now, today they're all grousing. How could Trump go to Mexico? And Trump has no business going to Mexico. I'm thinking, are you kidding me? You've sold out this country in negotiation after negotiation. He goes down to Mexico and is statesmanlike and respectful, but also talks about American priorities. That's what we want in an American president, in my view.
It was funny because Hillary did blast Trump for going to Mexico, but you know she would have blasted him if he didn't go to Mexico.
Oh, it can't win.
And you know that they're panicked tonight in the Clinton campaign, especially in light of their dropping poll numbers. And you've got a lot of these swing states now have come back into play. This is a brand new ball game, and I'd like to see the polls 1 week from tonight. Laura, as always, thank you for staying up late. Thanks for being with us. We appreciate it.
All right, take care.